From the ubiquitous crowds thronging the ghats during Chhat to the stereotypical litti chokha. From migrant workers in jam-packed trains to the lilt of a Bhojpuri song. Or just Manoj Bajpayee. There are many typecasts to describe Bihar and the Bihari. But then there is caste and there is politics. And there are tenuous mathematical equations where caste and politics intersect in Bihar. For the past 35 years, there have been two poles of power around which the electoral circuits have hummed. Two power centers in Patna, two juggernauts of Bihar, two disciples of the same socialist ideologue, forged on identical anvils of idealism, once brothers in arms, now an either-or choice at the ballots. From the parallels to the distinctions, this is the story of Bihar, juxtaposed. The Bihar Assembly elections of 2020 was the coming of age of a young one-term MLA, Tejashwi Yadav. It was in this election that he emerged from the shadow of his father and almost single-handedly brought the RJD-led Mahagathbandhan tantalizingly close to claiming power in Bihar. The lantern in the youthful Tejashwi's hand spluttered. He fell short by just 12 seats. Possibly the fallout of his opponent's concerted campaign strategy, fanning the fear of a return to Lalu Raj. It helped that Lalu Yadav, Tejashwi's father and the founder of the RJD, was then in jail, convicted of corruption in the controversial fodder scam during his tenure as Chief Minister of Bihar.
देखिए, लालू का ज़माना निकल गया, लेकिन भारतीय जनता पार्टी की कोशिश है कि लालू का जो जंगल राज है या लालू का जो बैगेज है वो तेजस्वी पर लिया जाए। और इसलिए तेजस्वी बार बार आपने देखा होगा कि जो उनका चुनाव प्रचार है, उनके कैंपेन हैं, होर्डिंग्स है, उसमें लालू जी, राबड़ी जी नहीं हैं। तो वो उस बैगेज से दूर रहना चाहते हैं और भारतीय जनता पार्टी कहती है कि कम से कम वो टैग उन पर चिपका रहना चाहिए।
People remember, but people also notice that Tejashwi Yadav is a very different political animal compared to his father Lalu Prasad Yadav.
The issue of backward empowerment dominated the 1990 assembly elections in the still undivided state of Bihar. Janata Dal emerged as the single largest party with 121 seats. The Congress had 71, BJP 39, CPI 23, CPM 6 and the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha had 19. Independents emerged as a major force, having won 30 seats. It was evident that the government would be of a coalition led by the Janata Dal.
जिंदाबाद 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 जिंदाबाद
Within the party, there was intense competition over the question of who was to be the new chief minister of a non-Congress Bihar government. On 10th of March 1990, the new chief minister, Lalu Prasad Yadav, took oath at a massive public gathering in Gandhi Maidan. Lalu had emerged victor as he had the backing of stalwarts like Devi Lal and Sharad Yadav and the unflinching support of compatriot Nitish Kumar. He was hailed as the leader of the people and the champion of backward empowerment in a state that had historically been dominated by the upper castes.
लालू जो हैं और नीतीश दोनों एक साथ की राजनीति के लोग हैं, जेपी के मूवमेंट से निकले हुए, लेकिन लालू ज़्यादा तेज, ज़्यादा बड़े पॉलिटिशियन रहे और उनके पास एक बड़ा मजबूत जाति का वोट बैंक था.
Lalu was what one could call, in the absence of a better word, a secular alternative whereby, although they were all anti-Congress, but Lalu was not very comfortable with the Jansangh, Bharatiya Jansangh at that time, whereas Nitish, in that sense, was an anti-Congress leader who, because he was part of the Janata Party, he had developed very good relationships with Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and therefore he was comfortable with the Jansangh.
काहे कोनो के लौकी टूटे, कोहरा टूटे, पेटी चोरी हो जा, सौ में ललुए के हाथ हो.
Lalu's constituency were the backwards and Muslims. His becoming the chief minister gave them a sense of belonging and dignity. They believed that he was their man, ruling on their behalf for their benefit. In his first term as chief minister, Lalu went about creating the image of a common man chief minister. He was the rustic, popular, anti-establishment underdog that the backward castes loved. But it soon became evident that within the so-called backwards, the economically rich and politically influential Yadavs began to corner most of the benefits of the Lalu Raj, while other backwards remained poor.
राष्ट्रीय जनता दल का अध्यक्ष निर्वाचित घोषित लालू यादव लालू यादव लालू यादव लालू यादव.
Law and order was at its lowest and there was economic stagnation. That is what opponents call the jungle Raj of Bihar. There was no jungle in Bihar as such, but the lack of law and order, the lack of some kind of economic progress, and Lalu sat over it. I don't know consciously or unconsciously, but he just sat over it. He didn't do much about it, although I myself as a journalist would remind him through my writings, through my interviews. And in a famous interview, he told me, विकास और राजनीति में कोई संबंध नहीं है. I had written about it. So,
watching from the sidelines, Lalu's brother in socialist arms could no longer accept the brazen Yadavization of Bihar. Overcoming his initial apprehension and goaded on by his constituents, the engineer and Kurmi leader Nitish Kumar broke rank. The anti-Lalu swirl swelled into a massive gathering at Gandhi Maidan in February 1994. Under a caste banner of the Kurmi Chetna rally, Nitish mounted the stage and roared from the lectern. जो सरकार हमारे हितों को नजरअंदाज करती है, वो सरकार सत्ता में नहीं रह सकती. He had cried out his challenge to Lalu.
Nitish was not happy the way Lalu was carrying on from 1990. Nitish soon realized that for Lalu, all of this is rhetoric. He's not doing anything on the ground. There is no attempt to build, let's say, educational centers or let's say health, which was in a pathetic shape. There was no. See, Nitish is also like Lalu, a socialist, but he is a socialist with a vision.
Nitish Kumar turned out to be the great survivor of Bihar politics. Without his party ever having won a clear majority, most times even without being the largest party in assembly, Nitish Kumar formed and headed 9 governments in Bihar, twice in alliance with his main adversary, Lalu Yadav's RJD. The RJD, with Lalu's promise of social parity, held power in Bihar from 1990 to 2005. A World Bank report in the early 2000s placed Bihar at the bottom of most development matrix. Public services were severely underfunded and poorly staffed. But Lalu once said to his detractors that he might not have given the people of Bihar a swarg or heaven, but he had certainly given them swarg or voice.
लालू ने जो पिछड़ी जातियाँ थी, जो दलित थे, जो कमज़ोर लोग थे, दबे कुचले लोग थे, उनको एक वॉइस दी है, एक ताकत दिया. और इसीलिए तमाम आरोपों, जंगल राज, भ्रष्टाचार तमाम के बाद भी उनके पास वो कार्यकर्ता, वो आम आदमी उनके साथ जुड़ा हुआ है कि उन्हें एक आवाज़ वहाँ पर दी है जो एक अपर कास्ट पॉलिटिक्स बिहार में चलती थी उससे अलग.
When Nitish became chief minister, his initial policy focus centered on rebuilding roads, expanding access to education, and curbing crime. Welfare schemes and introduction of village-level public service delivery marked the early phase of his tenure. Lalu in power, or by proxy when his wife Rabri Devi was the chief minister from 2000 to 2005, meant a redistribution of political spoils to the traditionally deprived classes. But local government appointments, police and administrative posts, lucrative government contracts, real estate allotments, transport and liquor licenses, wherever there was money to be made, were cornered by influential Yadavs.
जो बिहार की राजनीति मोटे तौर पर जाति की राजनीति पर चल रही है और नीतीश कुमार जो एक ज़माने तक जाति की राजनीति नहीं करते थे, आज वो पूरी तरह से ईबीसी एमबीसी को लेकर जाति की राजनीति पर आ गए. तो भले ही लालू 20 साल से सरकार में या बिहार की राजनीति से एक तरह से अलग हों, लेकिन राजनीति की जो छाप है उस पर लालू की मोहर अब भी लगी हुई है.
"20 years with Nitish Kumar, mostly at the helm, have not transformed Bihar into a model state, but the reforms he introduced and his general administrative efforts meant his admirers began to refer to him as Sushashan Babu, good governance man."
Very much a detail-oriented man. He had a vision of how he is going to rebuild Bihar. The problem is that when he became chief minister, Bihar was at rock bottom. So it took him a long time to get Bihar out of that morass of poverty. But I must say, if you look at one indicator, that is what we call economic growth rate, it has been phenomenal. Even today it's 14%, second highest among all the states. So the growth of Bihar under Nitish has been phenomenal, but because Bihar was at rock bottom, therefore even after 20 years, it continues to stay below most of the states on most majority indicators of development.
तेजस्वी अब की आई हैंगे रोशन सवेरा लई हैंगे आरजेडी अब की आई हैंगे रोशन सवेरा लई हैंगे नए का सुबह नए का।
Politics was not Tejashwi Yadav's first choice of career. He wanted to become a cricketer and had some initial success. But by the time he had turned 25, he had joined the family business of politics. In 2015, Lalu Yadav and Rabri Devi's second son contested his first election and became an MLA for the first time. 5 years later, he had become the biggest thorn in the side of Nitish. In 2020, Tejashwi narrowly missed the chance to become Bihar's youngest chief minister. Tejashwi carries the legacy as well as the cross for what his father stood for. As the juxtaposition to Nitish's school of politics, it has shown signs of working for him. This mix of legacy and cross. Tejashwi counters the cross of Lalu Yadav's so-called Jungle Raj style of governance with his own short but proven record of when he was the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, twice.
नीतीश कुमार जी को अमित शाह
He basks in the positive legacy of the socialist Lalu in being able to champion the underprivileged caste and classes of the Bihari population.
तेजस्वी के बिना सुधार ना होई हो सुधार ना होई ए भाई लालू बिना चालू ई बिहार ना होई ए भाई लालू बिना चालू ई बिहार ना होई।
And Tejashwi has youth on his side, both in his own self, being a young leader, and in his support base of youngsters. In contrast, Nitish Kumar is 74 with rumors of him having memory issues. And so continues the juxtaposition that is Bihar. And it is still between the two poles that have dominated contemporary politics in the state.